The Odyssey tells the story of Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and his 10-year struggle to return home after the Trojan War. After the fall of Troy, Odysseus and his crew set sail, brimming with hope, but soon encounter the Ciconies, who rally against them, inflicting heavy losses. They next arrive at the land of the Lotus Eaters, where some of his men consume a narcotic plant and lose all desire to return home, forcing Odysseus to drag them back to the ships. Their voyage continues to the island of the Cyclops, where the giant Polyphemus traps them in his cave, devouring several sailors before Odysseus blinds him and escapes by clinging to the undersides of sheep. Odysseus reveals his name in triumph, provoking Polyphemus to curse him, which angers Poseidon, god of the sea, and sets the stage for Odysseus's prolonged misfortune. Athena, goddess of wisdom and warfare, repeatedly aids Odysseus, intervening with Zeus to counteract Poseidon's hostility throughout his journey. Before reaching Aeolia, Odysseus demonstrates cunning leadership by restraining his men's pessimism and maintaining discipline despite repeated setbacks. The fleet next lands on Aeolia, home of Aeolus, keeper of the winds, who gifts Odysseus a bag containing all winds except the west wind to guide them home. Odysseus's men, suspecting treasure, open the bag while he sleeps, unleashing a storm that blows them back to Aeolia, where Aeolus refuses further aid, believing the mission cursed. The survivors sail to the land of the Laestrygonians, a race of cannibalistic giants who destroy all ships except Odysseus's own and kill many more men. They then reach the enchanted island of Circe, who transforms half the crew into swine. But after Odysseus resists her magic with a herb given by Hermes, she restores his men and offers hospitality for a year. On Circe's island, Odysseus's trusted companion Eurylochus narrowly avoids enchantment, warning the others and prompting Odysseus to confront the sorceress. Following Circe's counsel, Odysseus sails to the Underworld to seek the prophet Tiresias, encountering the shades of his mother, Anticlea, and fallen heroes, learning the obstacles he must face and the means to appease the gods. Odysseus learns from Tiresias that he must avoid harming the sun god's cattle and must make sacrifices to Poseidon to gain safe passage home. Returning to Circe, he receives crucial instructions to navigate past the Sirens, whose seductive song lures sailors to destruction, and to safely pass the twin threats of Scylla and Charybdis. He follows her counsel, plugging his crew's ears with beeswax and having himself bound to the mast to resist the Sirens, then sacrifices sailors to the six-headed monster Scylla to avoid the deadly whirlpool Charybdis. After surviving these dangers, they arrive at Thrinacia, the island of Helios, where despite warnings, his men slaughter the sacred cattle while Odysseus sleeps, invoking Helios's wrath. Zeus punishes the violation with a storm that drowns all crew except Odysseus, who survives by clinging to wreckage and drifts to Ogygia, the island of the nymph Calypso. Calypso keeps Odysseus captive for 7 years, offering him immortality, but he yearns for home, and the gods, prompted by Athena, order Calypso to release him. She helps him build a raft, and after 17 days at sea, Poseidon wrecks it. Yet Odysseus reaches the shore of the Phaeacians on Scheria, exhausted and alone. On Scheria, Odysseus wins the favor of King Alcinous by besting his court in athletic games, although his prowess remains concealed from his hosts. Discovered by Nausicaa, daughter of King Alcinous, Odysseus is welcomed at the royal court, where he recounts his adventures and is provided safe passage home. The Phaeacians, skilled sailors, transport Odysseus to Ithaca in a single night, secretly landing him while he sleeps and leaving him a gift of fine treasures. The treasure he brings includes a silver mixing bowl and purple-clad robes, symbols of Phaeacian generosity and craftsmanship. Awakening on his homeland, Odysseus disguises himself as a beggar at Athena's urging to assess the situation in his palace without revealing his identity. Disguised, Odysseus first visits Eumaeus, his loyal swineherd, who greets him hospitably without recognizing his master. He finds his palace overrun by suitors seeking to marry his wife Penelope, believing him dead, and waste his wealth as they plot to kill his son, Telemachus, upon his return. Telemachus, now a young man, returns from his own journey to Pylos and Sparta, seeking news of his father, and reunites secretly with Odysseus, who reveals his true self. Together, they formulate a plan to reclaim their home, with Odysseus maintaining his disguise and observing the suitors' behavior. Penelope, clever and faithful, wards off the suitors by delaying her choice through a ruse. She promises to marry when she finishes weaving a funeral shroud, unweaving it nightly. As the contest to string Odysseus's great bow is announced, none of the suitors can bend the weapon, but Odysseus, still disguised, easily strings it and shoots an arrow through 12 axe heads. In a private moment, Euryclea, the aged nurse, recognizes Odysseus by the scar on his thigh while washing his feet. At his signal, Telemachus and 2 loyal servants lock the doors and arm themselves, and Odysseus reveals his identity before unleashing arrows that kill Antinous, Eurymachus, and the rest of the suitors. The slaughter of the suitors restores justice and order to the palace, fulfilling the unwritten laws of hospitality and vengeance. After the slaughter, Odysseus orders the disloyal female servants to clean the hall and then has them executed for their betrayal. Odysseus, Telemachus, and loyal herdsmen then retrieve the hidden weapons and armor, ensuring no further threats remain in the hall. Penelope tests Odysseus by mentioning their marriage bed, carved from an olive tree rooted in the palace floor, knowledge only the true Odysseus could possess. When Odysseus describes in detail the bed's construction, Penelope is convinced of his identity, and they are joyfully reunited. To secure his rule, Odysseus visits his father Laertes, revealing himself and demonstrating his lineage. Concerned relatives of the slain suitors prepare for vengeance, but Athena intervenes, urging peace, and a truce is brokered between Odysseus and the families. The story concludes with Odysseus restored to his throne, Penelope by his side, and the house of Laertes at peace, fulfilling the journey's promise of homecoming.